Hey there, boys and girls. Well, we picked up the CRF300 and we were going to do a first ride impression video, and you can see the weather's not going to cooperate. I don't know what Garage Dog's doing down there, but yeah, let's jump into this video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, my intent was to do a first impression video on this 2023 CRF 300L. However, weather's not cooperating, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go over the bike. I'm going to tell you some of the things that I really like about it, some of the things that it's going to need a few changes here or there. But let's go over the specs of the bike, kind of go over some details, and kind of give you my overall impression of this particular bike. So let's jump into it. All right, so first things first, if you're in the market for a dual sport bike, and any adventure motorcycle for that regard, seat height is a little of a concern. If you're in that 5'5" to 5'8" range, or your inseams less than say 30 inches, these bikes are a little tough. However, this bike, you can get it in a low seat version. This is just the standard non-ABS bike here, and the seat height on this is 34.7 inches. The bike, as advertised, curb weight's about 306 pounds. So in comparison to, say, my KLR, which is about 460, 470, this bike is pretty light. And one of the things you probably noticed out of the gate is when this bike is upright, under its own weight, this suspension is pretty cushy. I think it's probably geared probably more street than dirt, but as far as a trail machine, I think the suspension is going to be fine. We're going to ride it and just see. Just to kind of give you guys an idea, I am just a fuzz between 6'1" and 6'2". I am 200 pounds. My inseam is 33 inches, so I'm a lot taller from the waist up versus my legs, but 33 inch inseam. And I'm wearing tennis shoes, and I'm completely flat-footed on this bike. And so it's very thin here in the middle, which is nice. So it doesn't spread your hips out too much. And I'm planted flat-footed. I am kind of standing, but putting my weight on it, still flat-footed. For me, things that my first impression with my build, I would probably crank the preload all the way up for me. Like I said, I'm 200 pounds, 205 pounds, depending after the holidays. If I'm putting any, with my gear and everything else, I'll probably want to put a touch of preload on it, or at least max it out for this bike. There is no adjustment on the front suspension. So if you're wanting to adjust your rebound or preload, it's a spring change. You might be able to get creative with some oil changes in your forks, perhaps. But for me, just kind of in a normal riding position. I feel a little bit cramped in the cockpit. The cockpit feels a little bit cramped. I would probably either roll these bars forward. I might want them up just a little bit. So when I do stand and ride, I'll want the reach up a little bit further. And that's just my particular setup and taste. But that's kind of it from an ergonomic standpoint. The grips, the mirrors, they're pretty much budget oriented. Same way with the turn signals. And I'm going to roll you guys around. There is some cool features about this bike. The dash is really cool. So let's jump around. I'll go over the kind of controls here, and we'll go from there. So let's kind of take a look at the cockpit here. On your left bar here, you're going to have your high and low beam, your horn, your turn signals. Again, those are not going to be self-canceling. Pretty standard mirror, your hand guard. One thing about this bike, it is a slipper clutch. Also, the clutch pull it's pretty gravy. It's very smooth. Would instill a lot of confidence in a new rider. The dash. So in the dash, you can see you're going to have a fuel gauge, a clock, your miles per hour or your speedometer, how many miles, how much fuel you've used, a gear indicator, which is cool, and a tachometer. So the dash is probably one of the nicest features of this bike. For being a budget bike, you're getting a lot of information right there, right in front of you. One of the things that's kind of annoying, well, we'll get to that in a second. Looking at the right side here, you're gonna have your on-off switch hazards, which are kind of cool. And your starter button, front brake, also the hand guards, which I mentioned. But probably the most annoying thing is this brake line right here. I understand why it has to be there, so it goes up and down with the suspension. But it really, so I've taken a rubber hose here and split it so I can kind of push this brake line out of the way a little bit because it blocks the dash. So it's kind of annoying. That's one of the things about the bike you'll find annoying, but not a big deal. Just looking down here, you got your fuel cap. It's lockable, so you unlock it, pops right off. Pretty basic. And then, yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap up the cockpit, and then we'll jump into some of the other features on the bike. So looking at the front of the bike, we're just gonna kind of look at some of the indicators. You've got, it's not an LED, it looks like a halogen headlight. It's decent. Your turn signals on the front, they will also, they're gonna stay on as a running light. So as we move down here, and move some stuff on my way. On the rear of the bike, you're just getting, you know, your tail light, your turn signals. They are not LED, they are incandescent. So that's, you know, things you might want to look at, upgrades in the future. Going to the front of the bike here, I'm not sure on the size of this brake rotor, but I know it's a 2-piston caliper. You're getting the, on the front here, 21-inch wheel, and they're pretty much a 50-50, not super aggressive, but a 50-50 nonetheless. So looking at the engine, again, this is Honda's 286cc engine, single cylinder. One big upgrade for this bike is the fact that it's fuel injected now. So that's really cool. Engine runs smooth. I mean, very smooth. Your rear brake here. And on the rear of the brake, or the rear of the bike, looks like a single piston disc brake in the rear. Obviously your chain, your rear shock, it only has a little bit of preload adjustment, not much. Your big exhaust pipe, it does maintain a pretty quiet exhaust note. Passenger foot pegs. With that suspension, be a little tricky carrying a passenger, but it's definitely doable. You just definitely squish your suspension. Looking at the rear of the bike, you've got a small storage compartment here that opens up. It's got a grommet, your owner's manual, registration, things like that. Your other passenger foot peg. Looking down at the gear shift, this is a 6-speed transmission, so that is a big yay for me in comparison to the Kawasaki KLR. Then looking in the front, you got your horn, your coolant level, and then again, this is liquid cooled, so you got your radiator here on the right side of the bike. All right, that is going to wrap up the video on the 23 Honda CRF300L. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like these videos, we are going to try to get more into some moto vlogging, so bear with us here. We're learning. We're not sure about our camera setups and mic setups yet, but bear with us because we're going to do a lot of fun camping, riding trips on this particular bike right here. And then also the KLR, maybe some 2-up riding. Me and Squirrel do some moto camping on that. That'd be a lot of fun. But if you would, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell for notifications. It really helps out the channel, keeps us motivated. But that's going to wrap it up. And until next time, guys, God bless.